Welcome back. Face Media Africa, the media project of the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung in Africa, will be hosting its regional conference on information and communication rights in Africa. The conference aims to address the status quo on media rights, information access, as well as the sustainability of current policies and frameworks in place, just to mention a few. The event will be taking place from the 31st of May until June 2nd, 2023 in Windhoek, and is expected to draw delegates from all over Africa. To further elaborate on the conference, we're now joined by Ms. Freya Groenhagen, the Regional Director of Face Media Africa. Good evening and welcome, Freya.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, Nina.
Thank you so much for being here. Freya, to start with, let's talk about how important, it really is to have this conversation around information and communication rights in Africa in this contemporary age that we find ourselves.
As you're just saying, it is very important because we tend to underestimate it. The impact of technology on human rights, especially on information and communication rights during the past decade, has been enormous. It has been impacting on our daily lives, on societies, on, of course, also on politics, without us really realizing it. So, and if we do realize it, then we only look at it from a national perspective maybe, or we just look at one or two aspects, but we don't get the broad picture.
Right.
And it's really, really crucial to get the broad picture, especially in view of the African continent.
What are some of the challenges or perhaps bottlenecks that media, the media fraternity and perhaps the public at large face in terms of, that's hindering access to information?
Especially in the digital age, access to information has become something for those who can afford it. We are calling it the digital divide. Because of course you have to have data, you have to buy data, you have to have your mobile, you have to maybe not live in a remote area because there might not be connectivity.
Right.
So, and even in view of like generational gaps, in view of gender gaps, it comes with huge division within societies between those who have and who have not. But of course also other issues like mis- and disinformation campaigns, fake news, cyberbullying, cybercrime laws, internet shutdowns. It's never been so easy as it is now for governments to control its citizens.
Communication rights and human rights surely go hand in hand, Freya. In your view, how so?
Oh, there are so numerous ways in which they really interrelate. Let me just mention a few. So, for example, access to information forms part of the human rights as they are enshrined in the Human Declaration of Human Rights. But of course, you have to know about your rights. You have to know that you're entitled to your rights before you can ask for them.
Right.
And then again, if you look at democracy, and I think democracy is the state form that is most prone to protect human rights, democracy can only work with informed citizens. It can only work with engaged citizens, and they need to have access to information and to be able to express themselves freely. So there are many more ways.
Yeah, many more ways. In terms of policy and legislation, let's just look at that quickly. Namibia has reached quite a milestone when it comes to the Access to Information Bill, and although it's yet to be operationalized, what does this mean for Namibia and perhaps the continent at large?
I think it's very good news for Namibia. It's been long awaited, and it's also been highly commended by many civil society organizations and even worldwide. But I think what we really have to look into is the implementation of this law.
Yeah.
This is the crux, I think, which we are going to face in that it takes a lot to really implement that. I would like to actually commend the Namibian government for setting aside this budget of 20 million for the enactment or the operationalization of the law. And when we look at the continent, Namibia is going to join the countries who already have legal frameworks in place, 26 of them in total out of 54. So this is quite a number. But then again, when you look at the state of access to information in Africa, you realize that not everyone is taking it serious and not everyone is taking implementation serious. But I think it's a very good news for Namibia, and we are very much looking forward to the next years in this regard.
Fantastic. Back to the conference, perhaps you can talk to us about what some of the issues are that you're looking to highlight through the discourse that will be happening.
Yeah, basically it's going to be focusing on the impact of technology on human rights, especially on communication and information rights. So we are looking into the issues of media in times of election, for example. You know, this is very critical.
Yeah.
We have seen that in numerous ways. We are definitely looking into areas of investigative journalism, media sustainability, community media. We mustn't forget about that. Digital migration has had its impact, negative impact on community radio as well. And of course also into all kinds of other issues, as already mentioned, like the fake news, the and disinformation aspect in terms of security, like data privacy. How can it be secured for each and everyone, but also for organizations, for the state, etc.
Yeah. Fantastic. We'll definitely understand now why the conference needs to be 3 days long. It's definitely a lot to discuss. But what do you hope, the takeaway will be from this conference come June 2nd?
Yeah, we are already so excited and we expect such a lot. But definitely what will have happened is engagement between the participants. They're all experts, really high profile experts. They will have met for the first time, I think, for many, many years because of COVID. They will have engaged, they will have deliberated, they will have come up with ideas and exchanged ideas. And there will be tangible results, we know for sure. So we are providing an outcome statement that we will together develop that. Definitely this will be available then. We hope to come up with some kind of action plan, because certainly this conference cannot be a once-off thing. It needs a lot of follow-ups on various ways, on various levels. And of course, we will have a wealth of information after that. We are going to cover this conference ourselves with digital media. So there will be live streaming available. We have videos. We will have a conference report, podcast series, a wealth of digital information that can be, looked up and enjoyed and consumed later as well. And I'm sure the engagement, this is just the start of further engagement on the continent.
Fantastic. Well, Freya, that's all the time we have, but thank you so much for joining us this evening, and all the best with the preparation and the conference itself.
Thank you so much, Nina, for having me.
Thank you. That was the director of First Media Africa speaking to us about the regional conference that will be happening, taking a look at information and communication rights in Africa, slated for the 31st of May until the 2nd of June. We'll be right back shortly.